Hello, today we're going to be looking at the Pāli alphabet and its pronunciation. Welcome back to the Pāli Studies channel. If this is your first time here, and you want to be kept up to date with basic Pāli language grammar tutorials to help you learn Pāli, then why not subscribe? And don't forget to click the bell icon so you don't miss any of the posts. Okay, so let's begin. Pāli is a phonetic language, meaning that it's spelt how it sounds. One symbol equals one sound. Originally, it was just a spoken language with no script of its own. But over time, it's taken on the written scripts of the countries in which it was written down. So it's come to have many scripts, and in the West, it is generally written in the Roman script. Unlike English, Indic alphabets are listed phonetically. The vowels come first, followed by the consonants. In this table, the last line is made up of what are called semivowels and the sibilant S. Now most dictionaries, including the PED, place the Nigahita symbol between the vowels and the consonants. Its listing in dictionaries can be quite confusing, so we'll look at this later in the tutorial. Now anyone who follows this channel will know just how bad I am at pronouncing words in Pāli, and I apologise now for all the mistakes that I've made and probably will continue to make in this series of tutorials. I'm more interested in reading Pāli than I am in speaking it. So in this guide to the Pāli alphabet, I'm going to use the International Phonetic Alphabet's standard sounds. The IPA is like a periodic table of speech sounds. Okay, so let's begin with the vowels. Pāli has 8 vowel sounds, and each vowel comes in a long and a short form. The long form, as the name suggests, being sounded for longer. And we differentiate these with a line called the macron. This is just one of what are called diacritic marks, which are used to extend the Roman alphabet to cover the different sounds of the Pāli language. Beware though that before Unicode fonts, long vowels were often represented in text by different means, most often by repeating the character. So it's possible you may still come across text like this. Anyway, let's listen to the vowel sounds.
A, I, U, U.
E and O are usually included with the long vowels, as they are pronounced long before single consonants and at the end of words. However, even though they're not marked as such, if they come before a double consonant, they are sounded short.
E, O,
The consonants are usually arranged as follows. Now the first thing you'll notice is, this doesn't follow what we in the West would consider alphabetical order. Instead, it's arranged phonetically by where the sounds are made in the mouth. Each row represents a position in the mouth where the sound is made, starting with the gutturals at the back of the throat and working forward through the palatals, the retroflex, the dentals, to the labials made with the lips. The columns in the table are divided into unvoiced, voiced, and nasals. Voiced just means to make a vibration, a buzz, in the vocal cords. So the sound k is unvoiced, whereas g is voiced. An interesting way to tell the difference is if you block your ears and make a k sound and then a g, you'll hear the difference as the vocal cords resonate up through the jawbone. Both the voice and the unvoiced sounds have an aspirated variant too. This means just to add an exhalation of air at the end, like a fricative, breathy These sounds can be quite tricky for a native English speaker, as we often tend to slightly aspirate our consonants. For instance, when we say key, and also the aspiration of the voiced sounds also has to be voiced, and this is quite unusual for an English speaker. Nasals, as the word implies, involves an opening of the passage to the nose and allowing a slight vibration in the nasal cavity. Another major difference to English is, with Pāli being phonetic, every letter has a single unique sound, and that sound largely remains the same no matter where it appears in the word, with only a few exceptions, like with the vowels e and o that we've just seen. So it's important to note that the aspirates, although represented by a consonant followed by a H, this indicates a single letter and sound. So the TH is T, and never th, and the PH is P, and never F, as it is in English. Now I'm sure if you've read any guide on the Pāli language before, you'll be familiar with the technique of using English words as examples of letter sounds. But in this tutorial I'm going to do something a little different. To add another dimension which I think will help you, I've opted for graphics from the University of Glasgow's Seeing Speech Lab. So let's work through the consonant sounds. The gutturals are formed at the back of the mouth, and these are also called velars.
Ka,
ka,
ga,
ka,
nga,
The palatals are made with the back of the tongue touching the palate or the roof of the mouth.
cha,
cha,
ja,
ja,
nya,
Now Pāli has two types of D and T sound. The retroflex, sometimes also called cerebral, and the dental. The retroflex requires the curling back of the tongue slightly. English T and D are very close to this.
cha, cha, ja, ja,
na,
With the dental, the tongue is touched on the tooth ridge, just behind the teeth. English has no real counterpart, but the French T and D are much more dental.
da, 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 na,
And the labials form with the lips, make a slight plosive sound.
pa,
ba,
ba,
ba, ma,
Finally, there are the semivowels. These are half consonant, half vowel, and although called vowels, they're actually consonants.
ha, ya, ra, la, la,
To these is added the sibilant S. So that covers all the consonants in the Pāli alphabet, and it just leaves us with the strange character, which is the nigahita, and you may also hear this called anusvara, as that's what it's called in Sanskrit. It's the one character where different editors have used different letters to represent it. This is the modern version, but you may come across some others. Phonetically, the nigahita is not a separate sound, but it indicates a nasalization of the preceding vowel, and it only joins with short vowels to form ang, ing, and ong, and these usually appear at the end of words. Occasionally, however, they may appear within a word, in which case the nigahita only precedes a consonant, and this is where looking words up in dictionaries can become complicated. First, if you're searching the PED, the Dictionary of the Pāli Text Society, it uses an obscure old character for the Niggahita. And if one appears before a semivowel, that is how it's listed in the dictionary. But if it appears before one of the other consonants, it takes on the phonetic characteristics of that group and transforms into the nasal sound of that group. The important point to take away from this is that some texts may use the Niggahita consonant combination, but the dictionary will always use the nasal character. So keep your eyes out for that one. And if you didn't know that, then check out my blog. I have a whole post on how the Niggahita is handled by dictionaries, and feel free to check out my other Pāli grammar tutorials on this channel.